So during our winter retreat, I was reading a commentary by Lama Yeshe about Tara, and I came across something that struck me. Lama Yeshe was very perceptive of his Western students. He was able to see problems, delusions, places where we get stuck, which we ourselves often fail to see. And in his teachings, he would frequently point these out and give advice. So this was one such place. He was talking about being close to the Guru. So he said, "What is this to be close to the Guru? Some students have a wrong conception and think someone who walks close to Lama is close to him, but those who don't have any contact with him to ask, 'How are you?' da 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 da, are distant from him. That's not true. To be really close to the Guru means clean, clear understanding." And then he went on to talk about how there are some lamas who have attendants or managers who are like physically close with them all the time, but who are a big disaster. And he used the word berserk. So they're worse off than people who may live far away, but take teachings and act as the teacher says and are totally blissful. And he gave the example of Devadatta, the cousin of the Buddha, who was physically close, but mentally and spiritually very far from the Buddha. And then he went on to say, to make a really close connection, you have to act in the right way. Then you are close to the Buddha and close to your teacher or your Lama. To use a simple word, digest what your teacher tells you. Then all is perfect. With indigestion and a berserk mind, then even to be always around your teacher doesn't make much sense and is of no use. So what he said struck a chord in me, because in the past, and even now sometimes, I get painful feelings of jealousy towards other students who are closer to my teachers than I am and get to spend more time with them. So it's as though I feel that they are getting something that I'm not, that I'm missing out on. And I think that this is a common problem. And especially over the past year with the pandemic, a lot of people have probably been feeling this, because we have been unable to, well, some of us anyway, have been unable to go and be with our teachers and be physically present when they are teaching and talk to them directly and so on. So probably a lot of people have been feeling this lack and maybe some jealousy towards those who are physically present with their teachers. So I think the feelings that we have towards our teachers can be quite complex. Some of them undoubtedly are pure and virtuous and in accordance with the Dharma, like faith. There's different kinds of faith. So one kind of faith is admiring the excellent qualities that we see in our teachers, and this can lead to the aspiration to be like them. That's actually another kind of faith. I want to be like that too. And then that in turn will inspire us to practice the Dharma, because we realize that's the thing that will enable us to be like our teachers, and also to develop these wonderful qualities and wonderful realizations that are explained in the Dharma, like realization of emptiness, calm abiding, bodhicitta, becoming a bodhisattva, and eventually becoming a Buddha. So it's our teachers who enable us to feel these beautiful states of mind and these positive aspirations and give life and energy to our practice. So it's just natural that we want to be around them as much as we can, to have those states of mind and to be energized in our practice. So those are positive feelings, but there may be other feelings that come up in us that are not so pure and virtuous and in accordance with the Dharma, like the desire for attention. And I think this can happen for many Westerners because many of us fail to receive sufficient healthy attention and nurturing in our childhood. So there may be this kind of hunger and need inside of us. And Buddhist teachers are usually very kind and very compassionate, even motherly and fatherly. Um, so we are drawn to them, partly to fill that hunger, that need inside. We may also crave for approval if we are insecure, lacking self-confidence, and especially if we can get approval from someone like a spiritual teacher who we respect so much and is respected by many other people as well, may even be a high lama. So that's particularly, special to be able to get approval from them. Another desire we may have is for status. For example, among the disciples of a spiritual teacher, there can sometimes be some competitiveness, trying to see who can get closer, who can spend more time, who can be the one who does the jobs, the errands and so forth, get more attention, even get more gifts. And that's the kind of attitude that leads to this very painful feeling of jealousy when we observe there's somebody else who seems to be closer or getting more attention from the teacher than we are. And then also this feeling that we are missing out on something. Somebody else is getting something and we're missing out on that. And in my own case, those kinds of feelings decreased as I realized that being close to the teacher could be very demanding. Long hours of work, lack of sleep, having your faults or mistakes pointed out to your face by your teacher. So physical closeness to the teacher isn't all kind of fun and rosy and ego-pleasing. But anyway, I've found Lama's words very wise and very helpful, and not to mention comforting and reassuring. So I think that what is important is to pay attention to the teachings and sincerely put them into practice as much as we can. And in doing so, of course, we are looking at our mind and noticing these kind of unhealthy or diluted attitudes, and then working on applying antidotes to them and developing their positive counterparts. So if we can do that, then we are close to our teachers, even if they are on the other side of the world. So in conclusion, Lama said, so to be close to the Lama doesn't mean you're around them. This doesn't matter. If you have a good understanding and act as he or she shows you reality, and if you realize it, then you are close to him or her. Very close. If we don't act this way, then even if we take many blessings and give offerings and so forth, and look 24 hours a day like a pious devotee, all this doesn't make any sense. So was Lama saying that we shouldn't try to be physically close to our teacher? I don't think so. Because obviously there are people who can be both physically close as well as mentally or spiritually close. And there's certainly nothing wrong with trying to be physically close as long as it's done with the right motivation, not out of self-centeredness or worldly concerns, but sincerely wanting to develop our Buddha potential, to become enlightened and help all living beings. But I think the point he's making is that if we are unable to be physically close, we shouldn't feel left out. We shouldn't feel we're missing out on something and then jealous of those who are close. Those attitudes are not helpful. So the most important type of closeness is spiritual, mental closeness. And that comes from sincerely putting our teacher's advice into practice. And it's also said in the Lam Rim teachings that the best way to serve our spiritual teachers and repay their kindness is to practice what they teach. That's the thing that's most pleasing to them. So I think there's a lot of food for thought in these words, and I hope they are as helpful to you as they were to me.